You've heard all the warnings of Halloween before. Make sure your kids have reflectors on their costumes. Don't let them go into strangers' houses. Check their candy before they eat it, and so on. Well, there's one danger you might not be aware of, and health experts are sounding the alarm ahead of the holiday on Friday. Today, the Salt Lake County Health Department is encouraging parents to be mindful of lead that may exist in costume products such as Halloween makeup. Health educator Candice Briese joined me to talk about some things that parents can do to protect their kids.
When it comes to Halloween, I would say novelty, that seasonal makeup, look at where it's coming from. That's one thing, just because we don't have, the regulations are different in different countries. I would say if you are going to use it, try to avoid using the darker pigments, especially around the mouth, because the only way lead gets into the body is through your nose or mouth. And so when it's on their nose or it's on their mouth, if they rub their face and then eat something, then there's that risk. So we really encourage hand washing, making sure they're not touching that makeup to cross-contaminate it into their mouth. That's kind of the guidance we give, is really honestly, more than anything, make sure it just stays out of their mouth and wash their hands.
Yeah, because how would you know if there was lead in that makeup?
So it's not listed as an ingredient, unfortunately, and it's really hard to necessarily identify. I mean, we still occasionally will see things that are listed as not having it and having it. So I think the best thing to do is be mindful of how you're buying it. Look for reputable brands. Look for ones that the FDA has checked out and verified as safe. And if you have any questions or you want us to test it, you could always reach out to our program. We have a Google phone number that you can call or text or an email. And we're happy, if you wanted to bring it by our office in West Jordan, we're happy to test it with our XRF analyzer and see if we pick up anything off of it.
What are the other Halloween materials that we need to look at?
Yes, thank you for asking. So jewelry, old jewelry, any of that vintage jewelry you're looking at, or cheap, a lot of that costume jewelry is going to have lead. So it's okay to wear it. Just make sure kids don't put it in their mouth. Make sure they're not sucking on that. And then I would say, any of the toys, but especially like fixtures or like rivets on those outfits, I'd make sure the zippers, that those don't go in the kiddos' mouths, because we do find that those have been having lead as well.
Tell us about lead poisoning and how it works, and is that small amount a big deal?
Yeah, so with lead poisoning, it is a neurotoxin. So it affects all parts of the body because it mimics iron and calcium in the body. So it's going to get into any of those areas that those can get into. And when we talk about the brain damage, we're talking about the prefrontal cortex, which essentially means that we're going to have kids that are going to grow up having a harder time focusing, more aggressive behavior. We see an increased rate of incarceration as well as substance use, just because they've got these big feelings and then it's harder for them to convey them and articulate that. So we really it's a decrease in IQ. So we really like to promote reading. So reading your kids those Halloween books this season is great, because that's going to create new neural pathways to help that brain balance if there's been any loss. And then I would just say, with lead poisoning, a little goes a very long way. We talk about dust, and I think people sometimes feel like maybe we're overreacting. But when we talk about what that looks like in a child's body, we say, if you take a standard paper clip and cut it into 1 million pieces, 3.5 of those in a half a cup of blood is the level that will trigger the Salt Lake County to call and say, hey, we saw your kid had this, we'd like to come and talk to you, give you some guidance on nutrition, and we'll bring our tester to see if we can find what the culprit is in the environment so we can get it out of there. But no level is safe. We see consequences at all levels. And it just kind of varies by the kid, because there's not a textbook. You look for these symptoms. Some kids don't have any symptoms until they get into school and we ask them to sit still and be quiet. And then we start to see some of those challenges coming up.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add before I let you go?
Just enjoy the holiday. Don't overthink it. If you have any concerns about the paint, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll give you some guidance. You can we'll find some homemade recipes for you if you need to try and improvise. And we're just here to support, and we're always happy to talk to the public with any questions or concerns.
Again, Briese says there's no safe level of lead exposure. Salt Lake County's lead poisoning prevention and injury prevention programs provide education, resources, and partnerships to keep children health and safety. For more information, visit saltlakehealth.org.